In a recent interview with Breitbart, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, stated that no American can be MAGA if they're anti-Israel from his point of view. But that's not stopping some of the loudest voices in the MAGA movement, including Steve Bannon, Marjorie Greene, Massie Gaetz, from continuing to hammer both the Israeli government and their military strategy. So we're gonna give you all the details, what Netanyahu said and how they're responding to it. But Cenk, what was your response to hearing that the prime minister of another country gets to decide who is in particular American ideological groups?
Yeah, I think he made a wonderful mistake. I'm actually thrilled about it because here's what MAGA doesn't love. In my experience, and I do have some experience with it, right? Having talked to a lot of them. Foreign governments telling them what to do. Not high on MAGA's list, right? And number two is people telling them, all right, this is what you're allowed to think. If you think anything else, we're gonna cancel you, okay? So Netanyahu has made a series of bungling errors that you would think like, no, come on, what do you mean? First of all, there is no consequence for any of the Israelis' errors, and that's exactly right. And that is why he has become far too arrogant. So that is why he's being messy with his propaganda. So normally people would tackle him before he said something this dumb, right? But he's so arrogant now. He's like, I will tell MAGA what to think, and you will follow my orders. Good luck, brother. Good luck. A lot have tried, not many have succeeded.
Well, why don't we get to how he came to this pronouncement? So as I said, he was speaking with Breitbart News and they asked him this, saying, anti-Semitism has been rising around the world and many of us had become used to seeing it on the extreme left.
Okay, whatever.
Okay, moving right along, I guess. But now it does seem to be rising on the right as well. For the first time in history, I think. But anyway, there are in the United States certain popular conservative commentators who appear to have drifted in that direction. Is it religiously based somehow? Where is it coming from in your view? And how do you stop it? And he said, some of these people call themselves MAGA. They're not MAGA. If you support Iran, Iran tried to kill President Trump twice, not once, but twice. Iran has put a price on his head, that's Iran. Iran has murdered, has killed and wounded more Americans, thousands of them in Iraq and in Afghanistan with their explosive devices. So just, we're gonna cruise past the idea that those two guys who seemed to be conservative Republicans are Iranian assassins. But anyway, Israel is fighting Iran and you can't be MAGA if you're pro-Iran. You can't be MAGA if you're anti-Israel. President Trump understands this and he stands very strongly with us. And that is my favorite part of this, where he's not just saying, I will tell you if you're MAGA, he then says, yeah, and Trump's got my back. Don't you, Trump? Say I'm great, say I'm the best, say that I call the shots. And we'll see, maybe Trump will in the end. Maybe he'll go on Truth Social and be like, yeah, if you're anti-Israel, you can't be MAGA or whatever. And of course, again, another thing we have to just blow past is the idea that if you pose the current military strategy of Israel or the currently constituted government of Israel, then you're anti-Israel. You're against the country and its people if you just disagree with its government. That's like core classic propaganda. So I'm not surprised to see it here. But Steve Bannon did not take kindly to these remarks. He wrote on Gitter, American citizens do not give two F's about your thoughts on MAGA or what our citizens need to believe. They care about exposing your pathological lies in order to keep us out of your next war. And I have no idea why every word is capitalized in that, but I do like that he's standing up for his movement. And we can get into what AIPAC is saying, some of the other representatives, but Steve Bannon at least is implying, I guess, that MAGA is gonna stick with him, not with Netanyahu and maybe Trump. Where do you see this shaking out?
Yeah, it's a lot to comment here. So first off, starting with Netanyahu's comments, number one, he said, Iran is killing Americans. Israel has killed 9 Americans since 2022. So in just the last 3 years, the accountability for that so far is 0. Because Netanyahu does in this case rightfully think I own the US government, whether it's Biden or Donald Trump. I can kill American citizens all I want and you're not gonna do a goddamn thing about it. Actually, you're gonna send me bigger checks because you don't have a choice. So now he's taking that, what he does with politicians and applying it to the voters. And that's where the mistake is. You could do that with the politicians super easily because AIPAC and other Israeli lobby has donated to literally 90% of our Congress, 90%. So he owns them lock, stock, and barrel. If you're a moronic mainstream media reporter who says, oh no, I bet the millions of dollars don't affect the politicians, I can't help you because you're not on this planet, okay? So on top of that, they might or might not have blackmail from sources that we've gone over before, right? So he's got him completely locked down. And so he feels like he can boss anyone around. But when it comes to the voters, you don't get to just yell at them and call them anti-Semitic and have to do the stupid tricks you do with mainstream media reporters and get them to all heel, because they don't have a dog in the fight. It's not like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get you fired from your job. Brother, you don't even know me, man. You can't get me fired, you can't get me arrested or deported. I mean, if you knew about me, you probably could, right? But you don't. I just have a private opinion, whether I'm on the left or the right. And so in the case of MAGA, it's literally called Make America Great Again. And they have a movement called America First. And now Netanyahu's saying, oh yeah? You just backhanded slap across MAGA's face, go, no, Israel first, America later. And yeah, but brother, again, you're not giving them money and you have no blackmail over them. So why the hell would they listen to you in your infinite arrogance? Okay, second thing he said that it jumped out at me. Iran tried to assassinate Trump twice. Nonsense, nonsense. 1000% propaganda, never presented a single piece of evidence over it. They just say it, him and Mark Levin and like just giant liars who are like, oh yeah, Iran is constantly trying to assassinate Trump, but they're trying to kill him right now. You better attack Iran, otherwise Trump's gonna die. No, look, dude, you're the one who gave him the pager, the golden pager. If Trump is under threat from anyone, it ain't Iran. Okay, and curiously, you went to go talk to him, and before he was checking you on a number of things, and then right after you talked to him last time you came, all of a sudden Trump's back to being a little puppy dog. So that's why he's like, oh yeah, I will order Trump to order you guys to put Israel first. Brother, I mean, that used to work, and maybe that worked in his first term, and that still certainly works for some of them. But I talked to them a decent amount, and they do not seem to be in a mood to get ordered, even if it's from Trump on this particular issue. And then the point that John made is hilarious, right? Anti-Semitism rising on the right. No, brother, the anti-Semitism that existed, and there is real anti-Semitism, was almost always on the right, right? So those are the guys who are like the neo-Nazis, the Jews will not replace us, etc. It doesn't mean that they represent all the right, don't catch feelings, okay? I'm just talking about fringes. Like when you talk about the extreme fringes, obviously the extreme fringe of the right is the one that is proudly, white supremacist, et cetera, et cetera. It might be a smaller group, but it's a group, right? And it's not on the left, it's on the right. So what's the left believe? They believe in like weirdo, terrible things like equality. So they say, the Palestinians are equal to the Israelis. Oh my God, you want to piss off Netanyahu? That's the number one thing you say. How dare you? I get to murder 60 of them for one Israeli, okay? How you can't ever say that the Palestinian lives are equal to Israeli lives. And you better all listen to me. Okay, brother, okay. Yeah, you can say all this crap and you can go on those kiss-ass shows and have them go, oh yeah, oh, where would you like to go? Burger King or McDonald's? Oh, we love you, please take all of our money. I mean, don't take my money. Take the average American taxpayer's money, please. Well, you haven't murdered enough Palestinians. You can do all this stuff, but it ain't gonna work. And no, guys, but the one thing that is true is, and you see how they're equating Israel with critique of Israel with anti-Semitism. Even if a Jewish person does it, they're like, yeah, it doesn't matter. This is just a talking point, and we'll just get idiots to repeat it for us anyway, all over mainstream media. And now some of the loser right-wingers who we now control like puppy dogs ask me stupid questions, easy questions, don't do follow-ups. And they're like, oh, yes, sir, right? So yeah, you can do that with everybody, but with those guys. But the rest of online media exists.
Yeah.
The rest of humanity exists, and you've lost control of the message. So no, man, and a perfect example is, I mean, a lot of them: Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tom Massie, Matt Gaetz. We're going to get to all of those. But Bannon saying, and this is why it's important, guys. I was never predisposed to, oh my God, I think Israel's the greatest country in the world. I think they should have more rights than other people. I think the occupation is lovely, and even though it's a dictatorial occupation, I'll call it a democracy. I was never in that camp, right? But a lot of the right-wing thought leaders were. Bannon was super soft on Israel before. So now all of a sudden Bannon's like, who are you telling what to, right? And you're not surprised because his whole thing is America first, right? But at the same time, he never said that to Israel before. The reason he's saying it and so many of the others are saying it are because it's bubbling up on the right. The right is now getting super sick of being told what they must do and how they must give all their money to Israel and they must not complain about it. And if they do, that there's going to be consequences. So they're not in the mood for that. By the way, for us, we've always believed, okay? America loves Palestine. If you support the Palestinian cause, we are with you. Because the Palestinian cause is about equality and justice, and they deserve independence and democracy like everyone else. So this is at shoptyt.com, and all the profits go to Palestine Children's Relief Fund. We're very proud to do that with our Free Palestine collection. All right, Nina.
Yeah, I mean, amen to both what you and John had to say about this jink. I'm really glad to see it. I'm glad to see Gaetz and both Congress people, Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Steve Bannon and others really stand up. And Steve Bannon summed it up. I mean, he speaks for me on this issue. That what we just showed for our audience, absolutely 100%. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, and I know you and John both know this, and many of our regular viewers on TYT, what I had to go through. And it was really literally that kind of stuff. I was literally told as a candidate in 21, and the special election in 21 in Ohio 11th, and also in 22, that Palestinians had no rights that the Israeli government must respect. And as a candidate, there was no difference between me and the next top competitor in the race on domestic issues. It was only my position that both peoples, Israelis and Palestinians, have a right to self-determination. Both peoples have a right to live safely and securely. And that was a bridge too far, and that was way before October the 7th. So to see these folks really stand up, and then Rep. Massie, who has done a video, I encourage our audience, if they've never seen the video, I forget where he was interviewing, but he said that AIPAC assigns a person to every member of Congress to watch over them, to lord over them, basically. And he said, I don't know what happens on the Democratic side, he said, but this is what happens on the Republican side. And trust and believe, it happens on all sides of that Congress. So I love to see it. Good for all of them.
Yeah.
So guys, in a minute, I want to give you some of the details of Senator Nina Turner's race in Cleveland because it really is instructive. And they did something similar to many people, including Andy Levin in Michigan as well. And for the same reason, they're for a two-state solution. And Israel says, no, we demand only one state and Palestine should never exist. And anyone who says Palestine should exist will be eliminated from American politics. So I want to come back to those details after we show you the interesting new bipartisanship on this.
Yes, let's jump into some of these comments, including first, the official Twitter AIPAC account had responded to one of Marjorie Greene's tweets referencing the ongoing genocide in Gaza. And they called her the dirtiest thing they could think of, full squad. And that's supposed to really sting, calling her like a woman of color? Like, is that, I mean, I guess traditionally that might be considered on the right, sort of the worst thing you could be, but it's strange here that she's the same thing now as AOC because she can acknowledge a genocide. They say same message, same legislation, same anti-Israel vision. The horrible war is only happening because Hamas refuses to free the hostages and surrender power. That's the only reason thousands and thousands and thousands of kids are being killed constantly. They're being starved every day. It's all because of Hamas. Hamas, I guess, is blocking the trucks from coming in. Yet MTG and her friends in the squad won't take any pressure or action to pressure Hamas to end it. Why? And she responded, instead of lying about me, have all you foreign agents at AIPAC registered under FARA yet? Not only are you a bunch of liars, you are breaking the law, which is not a bad point. And although obviously I think traditionally it's very clear that I disagree with Marjorie Greene on I think every other issue, I'm gonna give her special credit even over the other Republicans in this section because like Steve Bannon saying, don't drag us into your next war or whatever, that's good, that's not supportive of these wars, but Greene is one of the few Republicans that's actually spoken about the people of Gaza like as humans who are suffering, and that suffering itself is a reason to oppose this. We're not just non-interventionists. We're not just like, whatever the hell happens to you, I just don't want to be involved. That's easy, I think. But Greene has actually talked about the suffering And I like that. I'd like to normalize that a little bit on the right. Thomas Massie said, regardless of how many politicians you contribute to, speaking to AIPAC, Israel is losing the public relations campaign for its war in Gaza due to its indiscriminate bombing and tens of thousands of civilian casualties, which is just an objective fact. And Matt Gaetz says, AIPAC thinks it's an attack on MTG to accuse her of sharing the squad's unwillingness to be slavishly loyal to Israel. But what this attack reveals is that AIPAC has so badly overplayed their hand that they now have real problems on the political left and right. The Post literally advertises their greatest weakness, growing bipartisan opposition. MTG isn't some outlier here. Support for Israel is at a historic doldrum, precisely because AIPAC has driven division, war, and chaos. They should register as the foreign agents they are. I proudly stand with MTG and my fellow Americans.
Okay, so a lot of interesting developments. So then I write in response to Matt Gaetz's tweet that John just read you, AIPAC is accidentally bringing grassroots left and right together and exposing how almost any lobby can buy our politicians. So ironically, AIPAC has done us a favor by showing how over the top corrupt our politicians are, that it exposes the entire systemic problem, right? And then Gaetz writes back, Cenk is correct about this, okay? So all of a sudden, AIPAC has accidentally brought the right and the left together. I mean, you want to talk about that point? We had Marjorie Taylor Greene on the show, which was unique and interesting and different, and we had her on because of this topic, and it looked like she was going to head in this direction. And in fact, she had blocked a bill saying that you are not allowed to boycott Israel, and if you do, there'll be severe consequences in America. And I was impressed that she actually took action and blocked that bill. So we talked about the issue here, and she was very good on it, and she's gotten better and better on it as we went along. And she asked at the end of that interview for a favor, which is, can you get John Iadarola to say something nice about me? Well, you earned it, Marjorie. There you go, okay? John was hard to get, but he did say it. And because really her tweets on this and her actions on this have been terrific. And so we can disagree with her on everything else, but there's no reason to turn down allies who are coming 100% in your direction. So much so that they've got Netanyahu panicked and AIPAC panicked. So that is a good day in America. Now I want to go back to Nina. So she was running in Cleveland, and Nina, correct me anywhere where I got a little bit wrong. So she had this gigantic lead, a 35-point lead or so, and she was running against 11 Lilliputians. And then, and I say that because I literally saw the polling numbers: 2%, 1%, 4%, etc. And one of them decides to put something on our website that says how much she loves, supports, and will never disagree with Israel. And then all of a sudden, a giant amount of money shows up in that race against Nina Turner. In the first race, Nina, I thought it was about $4 million. So a lot of different Israeli lobby groups. The biggest one in that race, to my recollection, was Democratic Majority for Israel, which I thought was hilarious because I thought you guys were running for a seat in Cleveland. But apparently it was for a seat in Israel, because literally the name of the group is Democratic Majority for Israel. And so that goes to Marjorie Taylor Greene's point. Brother, you're for Israel, it's in your title. AIPAC has Israel in its title. So don't tell me that you're not doing this on behalf of a foreign government. And it's not like you're doing it for Norway or Peru. You're doing it for Israel. So this is clear cut. So tell us about your experience, what I got right and wrong there, Nina, in your race.
Yeah, you got the gist of it right, Cenk. It was a 30-point lead in May of 2021. 11 people in the race, and they walked me down. They took the person that's in the seat right now as their person. She put a red box up on her website so that her campaign could send messages to a super PAC, because you're not supposed to coordinate directly. And by the time that special election happened, she had walked me all the way down, millions of dollars between, and you're right, it was the Democratic Majority for Israel that did the majority of the spending. A lot of donors here in the greater Cleveland area on the Republican side donated to her campaign as well. And in that primary, 4,000 Republicans crossed over in the special election during that primary. And that's just about how many votes she won in that special election of 2021. The blueprint for how to defeat progressives like myself, and again, our viewers have to understand this was way before October 7th. All I was doing was standing up for humanity, which I do, and also standing up for my district. I can tell you, I met with folks who told me to my face that there were very few differences between the two of us on domestic issues. The difference was about Israel. And when I said I'm running for the 11th congressional district, they told me that they did not care, absolutely did not care, that they give enough money to the black community in support of the black community, even though the district is definitely mixed, but the black community. And so therefore it was really about support for Israel, which I did not. The right-wing government of Israel is different from the people of Israel itself. And in this country, we have a right to redress our government. We have a right to argue back and forth with our government. But for a foreign agent to basically blow down the way they're blowing down right now, the way they blew down in my race, the way they blew down in Congresswoman Bush's race and Congressman Bowman's race, I need our viewers to understand, and anybody else, that blueprint was crafted in Ohio 11th in 2021, and then again during the regular election cycle of 2022. But can you imagine somebody saying to you, and especially to a black woman, that there's virtually no difference between you and the other person, even though there was 11 people in the race, it really only came down to 2 of us, and that we only care about what you have to say about Israel, which I only said peace and justice, security for both peoples. That's all I've ever said, and that was a bridge too far in 21 and also in 22, and they walked me down. I had supporters. Jink and John, I definitely got to shout out Jewish Voices for Peace, both nationally and in the city of Cleveland, who came to my rescue time and time again, and other of my Jewish sisters and brothers and family and friends who actually supported me and understood what was going on. There's a daylight between 21 and 22, where the kind of synergy and energy that we have right now, as you both know, it was not there for me. But I am really glad that it is here now, and I am absolutely glad to see some of our sisters and brothers and family and friends on the right. We got to be mature enough to agree on what we can agree on. Really stepping forward. If you're really America first, then you won't allow no foreign entity, no foreign government, no matter who they are, to come and boss around the American people in the way that AIPAC and Democratic Majority for Israel and others have been allowed to do. And Jake, I will say, when I ran that second time, as you know, people were hurt. They were hurt. They were jilted. They wore them down. And so it was a harder fight in 22 than it was in 21 because of how that money poured in and how Republicans jumped over to support the person that is in that seat right now. And yes, to date, she has received over $4 million from the AIPAC lobby.
Yeah, so look, guys, I mean, last couple things here. First, as we say a million times on the show, it's got nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with a foreign government.
No,
not only are there hundreds, maybe thousands of Jewish American heroes fighting for peace and justice in Palestine that we could literally name right now between the 3 of us. But Marie Newman was attacked in the same exact way. And she was a congresswoman from Illinois. Her husband's Jewish. They don't give a damn, right? But more, clearly, Andy Levin, from pretty much a legendary Jewish political family in Michigan, was a House member. All he said was, of course, he's for Israel and for Israel's safety, security, et cetera. All he said was, we should do a 2-state solution. That's actually official US policy. They targeted him, spent millions of dollars, defeated him. So they are very clear, if you are not 100% in favor of whatever government Israel has, you're to be eliminated from American politics. And that is ironically bringing the right and the left together. Like, we should do an honest caucus. I mean, there won't be very many people in it. Because look, the things that we disagree with Marjorie Taylor Greene on, she's also honest about. But in a kind of shocking way, meaning immigration, her views we are not at all in favor of, but it's not like she's pulling punches, right? She's not pulling punches in that regard. And so when she doesn't pull punches and we disagree with her, we go to war over that. But when she's doing it in this case for justice and what's right, great. And what brings us together is not our agreement across the board, but it's our agreement that we should be representing the voters and not any donor from any country or any corporation.
I also want to add too, I want people to remember, when Senator Sanders was running as well, light years ago, it seems, but he was called a self-hating Jew often. Often. And I remember one time we were coming through Cleveland Hopkins Airport, this lady stopped the senator and put her finger, tried to put her finger in his face. I don't know, racial, ethnic identity. I'm assuming it was a Jewish person, I wanna make that clear. And she was complaining about Linda Sarsour and calling her an anti-Semite. And the senator stopped her in her tracks and said, absolutely not. But this is what she just jumped right in front of him. So that's the kind of person that we're dealing with too in Senator Bernie Sanders. And also we know a lot of them, Adair Benjamin and Cole Pink and so many others of people just from different walks of life and identities coming together to stand up for humanity. And Jink, you were on that trip with me most of the time. I mean, what pains me the most is that you talk about being a humanitarian. I mean, that's how I roll. And say you disagree with some of the policies I believe in, but to send emails out all across the country, raising money, calling me an anti-Semite, but then what they did in district though, they didn't use that. Now they used that to raise money nationally, but what they did within the district is to say I was not sufficiently loyal to the Democratic Party, and that was gonna be a problem for President Biden, and some choice words that I said after 2020 primary about the difference between President Trump and President Biden before it became President Biden. So I just need people to understand that if the shoe were on the other foot and it was Americans being slaughtered like this, you would want a group of people to come together despite the other things that they disagree on and say that enough is enough, that this is not right. And so again, I am thrilled, and Jink, you're laying it out. Here we probably don't agree with much with that band of people on the right, but this is not about what we disagree on. This is about the things that we do agree on, and this is about humanity itself, whether it's in the Gaza, whether it is in the Congo, the Sudan, other places that are disrupted in this world because of geopolitics. We should be courageous enough to lock arm in arm on those issues and say that this is not right.
100%. I just last couple of things to back up what Senator Turner is saying. Another Israel supporting group in the 2000s put together a list of 8,000 so-called self-hating Jews, and they targeted them to get them fired and their lives ruined for criticizing Israel. And just this week, Jamie Raskin joined an effort to stop offensive weapons to Israel. And they immediately sent out a newsletter attacking Jamie Raskin, who's also Jewish. So it has nothing to do with whether you're on the right, the left, Jewish, Muslim, or Christian. They have only one priority: America must obey Israel. Well, now America, united right, left, and every religion, has the same message back to AIPAC and Netanyahu, and it's this. So this is what you accidentally created. So an ironic thank you. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.